Max Verstappen's Hungarian Grand Prix was a nightmare. Chasing a third consecutive World Drivers' and Constructors' Championship double, the Red Bull driver has recently come under increasing pressure from McLaren and Mercedes. As attention builds in the championship battle, Red Bull's massive errors brought the reigning world champion to breaking point. A desperate lunge on Lewis Hamilton and an expletive-filled outburst over the team radio has forced the FIA to step in and stop a repeat in Belgium. Today, I'll cover how Lewis Hamilton put down Verstappen over his antics last weekend, and what the FIA are doing to ensure it never happens again. So don't go anywhere. Verstappen's behaviour during the Hungarian Grand Prix has brought him and the Red Bull team far more negative press than they're comfortable with this week. He was involved in a number of feisty radio exchanges with his British-Italian race engineer Giampiero Lambiase, or GP, and berated Red Bull's strategy as shh. He also complained at the team for effing my race and for the car balance not being how he wanted it. By the end of the race, GP sounded completely fed up. After the collision with Hamilton, Verstappen told GP that Hamilton had moved under braking, but GP just responded, "I'm not going to get into a radio fight with other teams, Max. We'll let the stewards do their thing. It's childish on the radio. Childish." After the race, Verstappen was pressed for a reaction to his critics, saying he went too far in the race and disrespected his Red Bull squad over team radio. He replied, "They can all F off." It was a frustrating weekend for the Dutchman, who was seen punching his steering wheel after failing to make it to the front row for the third race in a row. A sim racing session that lasted until 3 a.m. the night before was partly blamed for Max's irritability during the race, but the team have since tried to play down that story. Max's collision with Lewis Hamilton came under particular scrutiny. A late dive bomb into Turn 1 as Max attempted to pass Lewis caused the Red Bull driver to lock up both front wheels. He couldn't stop his car, and as he overshot his racing line, he made contact with Lewis's front right wheel, sending himself airborne. Luckily, both drivers were able to continue, but it was an incident that could easily have finished both of their races. The FIA declared it after the race as a racing incident, but Lewis Hamilton has since said he wants to speak to the stewards about it. Speaking about the stewards' decision, he said, "I was really surprised by it. If you look at the replay, at the end of the whole move, I'm very far from the apex. There's a lot of room on the right-hand side, so I was very surprised. That will be a question when I speak to the stewards at some stage." Hamilton wasn't finished there though. After 2 seasons of domination, Verstappen is starting to face stiffer competition from his rivals and finished 5th in Hungary after colliding with Hamilton. When Hamilton was asked how Verstappen should cope with Red Bull's recent slip in performance, he said, "You have to be a team leader, a team member. Maybe not so much a team leader, but more so just always remember you're a teammate with lots of people and you have to act like a world champion." When he was asked what he meant by acting like a world champion, Hamilton laughed and said, "That's a good question. Not like it was last weekend." With the F1 coverage playing Verstappen's comments for everyone to hear, Martin Brundle said after the race that he feels uncomfortable with the disrespectful way Max Verstappen interacted with his Red Bull teammates during the Hungarian Grand Prix. "It was quite disappointing, I thought. What was going on the radio in Budapest?" Brundle told Sky Sports F1 in Belgium. "I was really disappointed with how. This is a team that has given him every podium, every victory, 3 world championships and counting, and I don't know why he was so disrespectful to them. They didn't have a great day, Red Bull, but they had a lot of incredible days for him, and the best way to handle that is to suck it up on the day. But it's not how Max is hardwired. He's got a very short fuse, as we know. And then to go and slam the door and tear pieces out of each other. That is how others have handled in the past, and I was really uncomfortable with the way he was rinsing the team and his engineer Giampiero Lambiase on the radio." Comments from people like Martin Brundle have created a discussion around the Formula One world. On the one side, some people, like Brundle, aren't happy with how Verstappen spoke to his team over the team radio. They think it is disrespectful, and with Formula One being broadcast to people of all ages all around the world, they weren't happy with how much swearing Verstappen did. On the other side, there are people who like it when drivers are themselves instead of PR machines without any personality. They think drivers should be able to express themselves and think it adds to the story of a race. But what's your opinion? Let me know in the comments down below. Verstappen saw nothing wrong with what happened during the Hungarian Grand Prix. Before this weekend's Belgian Grand Prix, it was put to Verstappen that a number of pundits had suggested his messages were disrespectful to the team. Max insisted that he isn't going to change who he is, and if people are offended by it, then they should just stop listening. People that don't like my language, don't listen in or change the volume down. I'm very driven to succeed. I've proven that already, said Verstappen. I always want to optimize stuff. People can argue that you might not be so vocal on the radio, but that's their opinion. My opinion is that it needs to be said at the time to maybe also try and force that the second bits would have been a bit different. That's how it goes. We're very open-minded, we're very critical of each other as a team, and that's been working for us very well, so I don't expect that to change. While Verstappen doesn't see anything wrong with his actions, the FIA have taken a different point of view. They've ordered a clampdown on drivers using expletive-filled language following Verstappen's behavior at the Hungarian Grand Prix. Max's behavior and the language used over team radio was a subject of discussion during Tuesday's FIA Commission meeting in London. Stefano Domenicali, the CEO of Formula One Group, reportedly reminded teams that what is said over team radio is available for the world to hear, and considering the young age of newer fans, language which could be offensive needs to be cut out. It is being reported that Domenicali highlighted that drivers are role models and should behave accordingly. It is thought that pressure could have come from other teams for the FIA to do something as well. Before the Las Vegas Grand Prix in 2023, team principals Toto Wolff and Frederic Vasseur were given official warnings after swearing in an FIA press conference. The FIA's inconsistency over rulings was already under scrutiny after Verstappen's collision with Hamilton was ruled a racing incident, and Ferrari and Mercedes would have been keen to highlight that while they were warned, Verstappen was not. Considering everything that happened at the Hungarian Grand Prix and over the past week, there will be a lot of attention on the Red Bull team. The pressure is on as their performance has faltered. While they may want a relaxed weekend in Spa, a grid penalty for Verstappen makes an incident-free weekend unlikely. For a third consecutive year, Verstappen is set to take a grid penalty in Belgium due to going over the limit for power unit elements. Verstappen's car will be fitted with a fifth internal combustion engine, taking him over the limit of 4 for the season, so he'll receive a 10-place grid penalty and start no higher than 11th for Sunday's race. Not that a grid penalty has held him back in the past. He won the race from 14th in 2022 and then triumphed in 2023 after beginning P6. While he does have a history of succeeding from deep in the pack at Spa, Verstappen said that he doesn't see a repeat happening this year. If you look at our last few races, where we haven't particularly been the fastest, I wouldn't say that with 10 places extra we have a chance of winning. But again, a race can always be turned upside down with moments. We have to be open-minded and try to make the best of it. That's what we'll try to do. At the moment, I also don't know how competitive we're going to be here. What did you think of Verstappen's behavior over the team radio in Hungary? Was he out of order, or were you happy to see some personality from a driver? And do you think he can make it a hat-trick of wins in Belgium in spite of the grid penalty? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and until next time, drive safe and bye for now.